My soul is longing for your peace, near to you, my God. Our Holy Father Francis spoke and wrote spiritual things to spiritual people. Francis felt that those who came to him were inspired, that is, breathed into by the Spirit. In other words, his followers were already spiritual in some way. We must experience life in God in order to understand it. Francis spoke to people as if they understood what he meant. Francis presumes that the Spirit teaches others as the Spirit taught him. Francis taught spiritual things spiritually. He had no outlined way. He leaves us only himself and his way of life. Francis lives out his experiences of God more in his acts than in his words. Francis's life of prayer. The Spirit penetrates the flesh, praying without interruption. Francis says our call is to pray unceasingly. For him and for us, it is an emphatic call. Prayer for Francis is all of living. It is life. There can be no partial commitment to prayer. We must pray with our whole being. Is this the way we pray? Prayer is a relationship. Thinking is an introspective monologue. Prayer is a dialogue with the other. Friendship with God takes on different meaning the more we dialogue. The relationship becomes deep and loving. Celano, we can in this way convert this thinking to the praying. The Spirit in us frees us. Because the Spirit abides in us, we are able to pray with a pure, selfless heart. In becoming selfless, we become more filled with the Spirit. Francis entered into himself. He took the world into himself. He then took himself and the world to the other. The Spirit works in us, leading us to the other. We grow, and we see things differently. We begin to see God differently. Francis says, God is good. Hence, God is the giver of all things. We see the world differently. We, like Francis, see the world as he wrote in his Canticle of Canticles. This is definitely the work of a mystic. One who is moved by the Spirit sees oneself differently. How did Francis see himself? He saw himself as a rustic, as a miserly merchant surrounded by God's goodness and doesn't know it. When he does see it, he hoards it. He sees himself as useless. God gave him so many gifts, and he is a sinful man. Francis concluded, the closer one comes to God, the less one thinks of oneself. Francis assessed himself through the eyes of humility. How do you assess yourself? Francis's life became a life of penance. He decided he must move away from self toward God, who made him. In many ways, Francis was truly a mystic. He always lived and hoped for a new beginning of humility. Do we?